You're asking for it. Oh well.
Hello, folks.
Mhm.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
And yeah, who are you again?
The bow one, the cold one.
That's it?
That's about all you
Okay. This is what I give you.
get.
I'm Brent Leary.
That's about all you get.
People need to be able to depend on things and people, and I'm here for you, folks.
Yeah, I'm totally independable.
Yeah. Okay. Independable, huh?
That's a new word.
Yeah, apparently so.
I've made up a new word.
Yeah, that's probably what you do on a weird Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back. I spent 4 days in Vegas and I am glad to be back in the ATL.
Was it hot?
If you consider 105 degrees kind of warm, yeah.
Yeah, man.
It was up there. And I had to actually go outside because I spent like half my time walking between the Venetian and Caesar's Forum. But luckily they set up a little like our own little walkover bridge between the two. So
They set up a bridge.
Yeah, I mean Oracle, man, they did it right, man. Because so there was two conferences. It was Oracle Cloud World, and then it was NetSuite Suite World, and of course NetSuite is part of Oracle. So Oracle Suite World was in Caesar's Forum. Oracle Cloud World was in Venetian, and I had to go back and forth because I had meetings and interviews and all that kind of stuff. So, but luckily they had set up a little, you know how Vegas is. You can't just cross the street. You got to walk over, or So they set up our own little walkover bridge, so you didn't have to go crazy distances just to get from one place to the other. It was really nice. So you go out the back of one, go over the bridge, and go lead you right into the other. Really nice that they did that because it saved me about a couple miles of walking, but I still had to go outside. So
I'm about to say, was it covered?
Luckily you weren't really outside for very long,
so you weren't covered.
So yeah, you were outside.
Did the thing have a cover on it?
The bridge? No, the bridge didn't have a cover on it.
Yeah,
I don't think it had a cover.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because you still had that heat.
So it's just some steps, and it just anyway. You should
took
the picture.
You didn't have to be outside for long.
It seems weird. I would love to. So it's a temporary thing.
I don't know how.
That would be interesting to see how they.
Yeah, I want to see how they break that down. It was a sturdy walkover.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Well, yeah.
Because you never know how many people are going to be crossing, but they know that thousands of times people are going to need to use it.
Well, and I think they had 25,000 people at Cloud World and 7,500 people at Sweet World. So yeah, there was a lot of people going back and forth over that bridge.
Sweet cloud, bro.
Yeah. So do you? Oh, I see. None of your minions are here yet. So.
What do you?
Your Colder Ice.
Why do you have to call them minions? That's not there. You know what a minion is? It's a yellow thing in a TV movie, or
a yellow thing in a TV. What?
Yes, the minions. That's a yellow thing in a movie.
Minions. They're like commoners.
No, they're
minions.
They're little cartoon things in a movie.
They're like little, Oh no, see, you're talking about I'm talking about the actual, not the film. I'm talking about the actual word.
It's Minions 4.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the movie.
The family comedy.
I'm not talking about the movie.
I'm
not talking about
Minions.
The Rise of Gru or whatever the hell that thing is. There were Minions well before that.
Well,
anyway. So we had wait, it got dark here. Did you see how dark I got all of a sudden?
Because your lights just went out.
No, I didn't have any on. I like the mood. It was a nice mood, but it's a little too dark in here now. I guess we're getting ready to get some rain or something. Let me turn my lights on.
Okay, that was weird.
What?
That it got that dark.
It got that dark that quick. And I was like, geez, I hope we're not gonna get we're not supposed to get a lot. But here we go. Now we're back.
There's his lights.
We're back in business, folks.
I got my old camera on. I just thought about that. I don't even have
I know what's the point?
What's the point of the old camera?
What's the point of going out and buying a new one and then not using it?
I know that's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh well, I'll see if I can turn it on. I can't because it's cheap.
It doesn't look bad right now. I mean, I
It
don't know.
never looks bad because it's always
I said it. I
it's
didn't say
looking
you.
at me, so it
No,
can't. That's
I'm referring to
impossible.
the lighting. I'm not referring to the face. So
That is that's an impossibility, bro.
yeah, okay.
That's
Anyway,
like division by zero.
yeah, Jesus. So we had a really interesting conversation. I know you were holding back though.
Yeah, I
Earlier.
was being nice, wasn't I?
Yeah, I'm not used
You
to
didn't know I
that.
could be that professional, did you?
I was like, wow, he's really trying to hold himself down. That was kind of interesting.
You
So
had no idea he could be that professional.
yeah, you learned something new. Old dogs can do new tricks, apparently. So,
Okay. Too far.
so anyway,
I just had that reminder of how old I am. We can talk
oh,
grown folk stuff in a minute.
first of all, before we get started, RMP to James Earl Jones and
Oh
to
man, crazy.
Frankie Beverly.
Horrible week.
Yeah, we lost some legit legends.
Yeah, totally. I mean, gosh.
Yeah,
It doesn't get much bigger than those two, really.
there was a point in time where I thought James Earl Jones was like James Earl. I almost said
About to say
James.
Ray.
I almost said James Earl Ray. That would have been a really tragic mistake. James Earl Jones. There was a point in time where I thought he was related to me because he kind of looked like some of my dad's people, and kind of like me because we got the same eye color thing going. So I was like, is he related to us? And of course he was. He's actually like born a year or two after my dad. So they're like the same age group, and they kind of looked similar. Except he was a lot bigger. But yeah, I always kind of looked at him like he could have been my uncle or something,
Like part of the fam.
Yeah, and of course when we found out he was the voice of Darth Vader. I mean, come on.
I mean, here's the thing. So let me ask you this: what is the film that made you notice him the first time?
It was either the one where he played Jack Johnson, excuse me, Jack Johnson,
Oh,
like the great. I think it was called The Great White Hope or something like that.
Okay.
And then there was Bingo, Traveling All Stars, and Motor Kings.
Right.
I think there was something else too.
See,
one of those
I
70s
forgot about Bingo.
Buck and the Preacher or something like that.
I forgot about Bingo and the Traveling.
Oh, that had everybody in it.
Yeah, that did have everybody in it.
And of course, Coming to America. I mean,
but see, it's like every time I talk to nobody, for me, it was Roots. I mean,
you know what? There were so many people in Roots.
There was everybody in Roots. but I mean, he lit up the screen, and he's always a big personality.
Now, one of the movies that he was in that a lot of people probably don't know he was in, and I don't know. I'm a huge Stanley Kubrick fan, so he was in what's that one about the bomb and Dr. Strangelove. He was in Dr. Strangelove.
I've never seen that.
That's one of the classics.
I've heard of it.
Oh my gosh!
Blah blah blah.
Well, did you hear the
questions part and all that?
Where my man Slim Pickens, he was the bombardier, and he rode the bomb instead of dropping the bomb. He strapped himself onto the bomb and rode it all the way down. Well, the other guy that was flying the plane was James Earl Jones.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was in a lot of stuff.
And
of course the voice, and of course this is CNN. Yeah, so and of course Frankie Beverly. I mean, what's your favorite Maze song?
I mean, of course it has to be Before I Let Go. I mean, everybody.
Well, it could be that or Joy and Pain. Joy and Pain is right up there.
It is up there, but I mean, you can't have a family picnic and not hear that song.
Well, that bass line, that's all I need to hear is the bass line.
Doom,
doom, doom, doom, doom, doom. Man,
so I mean, and literally, I can't even name the number of times that I've seen them in concert.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Every time. I remember one time they came on a Christmas Eve and I didn't go. I was like, I'm not going to do this. But like every other time, every year, and you know what? He was perpetually on tour.
So let me ask you this: why? Because I know you go to a lot of concerts and stuff. Why did you go to so many of theirs?
Well, because he was perpetually on tour.
I mean, was
So they would
the
come back every year, and they would always have a good lineup.
was it a different kind of experience?
It
You're
was the
like,
exact same, man. Please,
it
I
was
mean,
always the same. Okay.
no, I mean not the exact same. They would throw in a song that you hadn't heard in a while, or something like that. But no, you knew what you were going to get. It was like a sing along, and you would dress in white, so everybody would come dressed in
What
white.
was that
That was
about the
that
white?
was Frankie's color. That was just Frankie's color,
I
man.
just realized he where everything was white.
It was white, yeah. And so people started emulating that for the show. So you get your white linens and you go to Frankie Beverly. And I
Yeah.
just, and he used to always come here in Atlanta outdoors at the Chastain Park. So it was a whole experience. You get to bring your whole cooler,
Did
you
most
know.
people come in white?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I've got pictures probably on my phone where I would go around the crowd and be like, who's about to come, because you'd see all the people in white. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
deep.
So I mean, it'd probably be like a good 60% of the people would be in white. They know.
Dang.
You already know. This is Frankie Beverly. You're gonna put on your white linens.
Wow, I didn't realize
It's
that
a whole
people.
thing.
Yeah, well, that's and he was touring right up to the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. They toured every year. I'm sure there's certain acts, right, that tour every year, right? Like you're gonna see Frankie Beverly. You're gonna see uh 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 what's the dude from the Gap Band, Charlie
Uncle
Wilson.
Charlie.
Yeah, Uncle Charlie's always touring. The Isley Brothers tour every
Yeah,
year. You
yeah.
know what I'm? Yeah,
Some of
like
these folks.
some of these would need to stop. Right, I know what you're gonna say,
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm saying that tour money must be some good
must
money,
be really good, man.
right? Because they but frankly, I don't know. And so, any rate, he did his farewell tour this year,
So he was
and
going to retire.
well, I guess he did retire.
Well, you know what I mean.
I'm just saying, I think he's like, this is it. And this is it, guys. I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm out of here.
So,
I think people know.
how old was he? I know he's in his 80s.
77.
He was only in his 70s.
He was 77.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They never said what he, died from, but he definitely was in decline, so
For a while, wasn't he?
it's been a while. Yeah. And because I had a friend that, he ended up going to the last show, the last show we saw here in Atlanta, right? And after the show, he's like, "Man, Frankie didn't sound great." I was like, "Bro, Frankie ain't sounded great like in the last 10 years." So you already know you're going for a sing along. You're going for the experience. The band's great, whatever. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's been in some sort of health something for a minute.
So, answer me this because I'm one. I just don't. I don't want to see the greats when they're not able to do what they really do. But it sounds like people would go to their Amaze event knowing that Frankie isn't Frankie anymore, but still going to be a part of the experience.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
I mean, Frankie gave that was weird too, man. He always gave it all of his all. You
mhm.
know what I'm saying? Yes, his voice was raspy and the whole nine, but he was out there doing his dance, and
So
Frankie
people,
wasn't some great big dancer or anything, but
right?
he's out there, and so you knew what you were going to get.
I mean, you know what? Good for people who did that. I'm sure he really appreciated that.
No, because we loved it.
Yeah, and you loved him, of course.
Loved him, yeah. And it's funny. Here's a funny thing. This is just reminiscing. My dad's second wife, right? Third wife.
Dang.
Have to
Okay,
keep count.
gotta keep
But
track.
yeah. But she used to clean the house on Saturdays. You know how we did back in the day. We'd clean up, and she would always play that Frankie Beverly Live in New Orleans album, right? And I hated it. I did not like Frankie Beverly and Maze growing up, right? And then one time I went to a show and were on the bill with somebody else, and then I realized it's like, dude, I know all the songs, and you know what I'm saying? It's like I had no idea I knew all the songs, and then I became a fan instantly because they sound great live. So anyway,
And of course, he's responsible for I guess kind of helping some of the biggest hip hop songs, at least of the 80s and 90s. Remember Joy and Pain by
oh,
what's my man's name?
Rob Bass,
Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock.
yeah, I'm
Joy
thinking.
and Pain was a monster for him back in the day.
Yeah. And Beyonce remade his song too. So she's got a version of Before I Let Go that gets played a
That's a
lot as
great
well.
song. I mean, that's just a
It's
great,
just the best. It is. I mean, come on.
yeah.
It's got one of the best breakdowns ever.
And that bass line.
And you know what? I was just thinking, damn, this sucks, man. Because I always say they always come in threes. And I'm like, oh, who's gonna
Yeah,
be
who's
third? And
next?
no, it's not even next. We have to go, just back to a week ago with, the hip hop legend of, I just lost his name. You know what I'm talking about.
Hip hop legend.
Yeah. Come on, the voice.
The voice.
Ah,
The
man,
voice.
I hate getting old because you forget stuff. And
I
that's
don't.
what I just,
I
you,
must have missed this one. Was it somebody I really would have known?
yeah, the big dude. What was his name?
Oh, did we talk about that? The
We did.
guy, fat somebody.
Yeah, Fat Man Scoop.
Yeah,
Did we talk about
well,
that?
yeah, we did, but
But that was just like a week ago.
yeah, but with all due respect to him,
Thank you, Jacinto.
I don't necessarily put him in the same category as James
Oh
Earl
well,
or Frankie Beverly,
I'm
but
sorry, you don't. But when it comes to the sound of my generation, Fat Man Scoop is so in there.
isn't he like a hype man? I mean, he doesn't. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
but he's done so many hype man
That's true,
tracks
but
of some of the best tracks ever. Come
well,
on.
give me what's the best one he was like the
The
hype man.
remix of Never Knew uh Never Knew There Was a Love Like This Before by Faith Evans. I
Uh,
mean, that is
okay.
like the most bangingest track. Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you know
good.
what?
He stayed in
Maybe
his
that's
lane.
right. He stayed, and I'm not gonna downgrade the guy. I'm just saying
You just
James
gotta
Earl
go,
Jones and
you gotta
Frankie
go listen to
Beverly.
that remix
But
and just
James Earl Jones and
mm.
Frankie Beverly. I
No,
mean,
I'm just saying,
that's
but
a
it's
little
just three.
different.
It's just I'm not saying that. Just deaths come in
I
threes
think there might
normally.
be another one that's on par.
Ah,
Like, good lord, I don't like to say that. I mean, but
yeah, we're not
you know,
comparing deaths.
no, we're not doing that.
But
By
who
the
else?
way, I do believe Jacinto, DJ Cinto, didn't he post something about it being his 21st anniversary today or something?
Yeah, was it 21?
Happy anniversary
Wow, y'all can drink now.
to my fellow DJ.
Wait, hold on, bro.
Don't even
That's
try to
that's almost like
don't
putting
wait a minute.
Batman Scoop in the
D
group. Come on, now you can't do that.
wait a minute. That's messed up.
There's levels to this, bro.
That's
There's
messed
levels.
up. Don't be hitting me with my own logic. That's messed up.
That's good. That's good.
Well,
But
we hope
yeah,
you
that's
have a
right.
great anniversary, sir, and
Absolutely.
Miss DJ Cinto. Anyway, yeah. Moving on. So yeah, today we were talking about.
Oh God,
I know I don't know where this is gonna go,
I do.
but so something came out of the National Federation of Independent Business People or something NFIB. They do a monthly check on, I guess they call it the Optimism Index, Small Business Optimism Index, to check on kind of the how small businesses are feeling about the state of their business, state of the economy. And they just published the August results, and apparently the August results are about 2.5 points lower than the July results. So pessimism is starting to seep in. Optimism is kind of fading fast. And partially the reason for that, or at least the number one reason they cited, was the threat of inflation. Now that's been hanging over our heads for a long time, the threat and actual inflation. But as we've seen over the last year, it's kind of been trending down. So even though it's trending down, it's still on front center, I guess, in everybody's mind. But the question that we kind of tackled was, what part of that feeling, that pessimism slash optimism, can be attributed to politics? We're in a presidential political year, and we all who are able to vote should vote. But how do you vote when you go into the booth, or you drop it in the mailbox, or whatever you do? Do you go in with your business hat on, thinking, I'm really focused on what my vote will mean in terms of my business? Am I voting for who I think is good for business? Or do you go in there and do you say business is important, but I got to vote for what I think is right morally, or for my community, or for everybody besides just my finances? So that's the question. And anybody who's listening, we would love to know what your position is. What do you lead with? Do you lead with your finances? Do you lead with business? Or do you lead with morality? Do you lead with what I think is right? Let us know. So your boy, the cold one, the bold one, I have to admit, when I asked him this afternoon, I was expecting
in mixed company.
I was expecting a certain kind of, this is your boy, that kind of thing. But he played it cool. Oh my God, he played it so cool. It took me by surprise. I have to tell you, folks, it took me by surprise.
Why? How do you think I got to be where I'm at if I don't know how to play the game?
Your boy was, talk about colder ice. He was cold as ice.
That's funny. That's funny now.
But now it's after 5 o'clock.
Now it's after 5 o'clock on Friday. So now I can tell you how I really feel.
Yeah, so I'm just going to turn the mic over to him and get out the way.
No, okay. I'm going to try to be as, I'm going to try to be as try not to be emotional.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So here's the deal. And this is real. This is absolutely real. When it came, the only reason, not the only, but like I'm going to say probably a good 75% of the reason why I'm in business for myself is because of my personal issues. Okay. All right. So I came from a very stoic background of consulting, right? And I mean, if you think about it, that's all about business, and it's all, you come from that, right?
Yep.
So we're talking about the early 2000s. Actually the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was a movement, and Ellen had just come out. And I was like, man, I need to be true to. So all these things that people talk about, your true self and all this shit that they talk today, we ain't have that, right? Matter of fact, we created that, right? So I was just like, I couldn't be myself inside of that culture. So that culture was, part of excelling in that culture was not what you did from 9 to 5, but it was also what you did from 5 to 9, right? So it was all about, are you going to go play golf with the guys? Are you going to go to the bar afterwards? It was all of that was when you started meeting your mentors and all that kind of stuff so you could move up in the organization. And I just wasn't playing. I didn't want to play that game. It wasn't interesting to me. And I had a boyfriend, and I wanted to get home. And I couldn't really talk about my life at work. It was just weird. Again, like I said, early 2000s, late 90s. So that was a very big motivating factor for me to create my own business. So I didn't have to pretend for anybody else. And so, bringing it all the way back, when people want to put out there that, they want to save $1 on a fucking carton of eggs, or do you have the freedom of choice on who you love and how you raise your own family? I don't even see there being any kind of, there's nothing close for me to even compare the two things. It always is going to lead with the morality part and, the personal part. And then the business will follow after that. So I'm not going to, you know, jeopardize my entire life and everything that I've built and my children and my family over, because the fucking groceries went up. Yeah, I get it. It definitely did go up, but I'd rather have that go up than my ability to determine my own self um, guidance go down. How about that? There was that's that and so when we're talking about earlier today, that it's just there's no way I'm going to say that in mixed company, and it's just going to turn into something that's just because you're not going to change my mind. You can't. It's impossible. It's like how are you going to? I'm not going to put chains back on myself, and we already know where this is going. I
So
mean,
the net is you don't lead with your finances.
no, my you know my business is there to support my life. My life is not there for my business.
Now, do you think uh and I'll tell you mine in a second, but do you think most people who are serious about their small business think that way?
I actually, and this is again, this because we just me and you. There ain't
Yeah,
nobody else listening,
nobody else listening.
right? But I honestly think that's the business part is just a cover for their limitations of understanding of other people's desire to be themselves. I think they use that as the blanket cover, but in reality, it's the morality parts that they like too that they're voting for more, but they don't say it out loud because they
Mhm,
know how shitty their way of thinking really is. They really do,
mhm.
you know, and it's so shitty that it makes them uncomfortable to have to say it out loud.
So I'm trying to get this right. No, hey Amber, Amber, it's good to see you. And we got to get you to answer our question in the comments section. I don't know how much you just caught of your boy breaking down what the impetus for how he votes. So I posed the question because we're in this presidential run. We're getting closer and closer. People are caught up in that, but they're also caught up on what's going on with the economy. And so I wanted to know from him, and I want to know from everybody who's listening. When you go to vote, whether it's putting it in the mailbox or going in, and they don't still have levers. People don't pull levers anymore. You just press
Oh,
buttons or something like that,
yeah, yeah.
right? So when you go to vote,
Push a tab.
what's foremost in your thought process as a small business person? Do you lead with your small business head? Do that, so what's best for business, what's best for finances, that's what you lead with? Or is it what's best from a more moral standpoint? Do vote for what you want to see for the community? So we're just kicking this around. So let us know, is it mostly about business, or is it mostly about other, whatever the other is, because that could be a lot of different
There's
things.
an old saying that it's the economy, stupid,
That's what, yeah, James Carville.
right?
That's what he.
It's the economy, stupid.
But from what you just said, it's not the economy stupid for you. Not just the
It's
economy.
never the economy, stupid. But if all things came down on the same side, here's the thing: most of the times, it used to be or many of the times, it does come down to, well. is this economy or that economy. We didn't spend so much time on personal things like we do now, or moral things like we do. That was a very new thing that came out with the moral right and all that kind of stuff, where they just
Oh,
got
like the moral
really,
majority
yeah,
and
yeah,
all that.
that's where they got really into the politics of it, and they saw how they could move their movement through politics. And I don't know if that necessarily was always the case. So then it would do definitely come down to the economy, stupid. But honestly, come on, man. Like globally, inflation is high
Yep.
globally. So the idea that one administration can change that, I don't care who gets in, they're not going to change the global situation. That global situation had a lot of factors, and we talked about it before, why prices got sky high. And I remember how, and again, we got memories like chipmunks. We don't remember shit. But when we had COVID first, was a big part of this, because COVID stopped the trans actions of a lot of uh, cargo going back and forth. And then remember, after COVID, we had that backup of cargo where ships couldn't get in.
Yep.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, people were like, man, uh, what used to cost me $10,000 to get shipped is costing me $35,000. And
Yep.
then it wouldn't get off the ship for months. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that happened in those couple of years that was not under anybody's control. It was just the situation, very unfortunate. And then I remember we had a show, Brent. I totally remember. We were sitting there and we were talking about it, and we were asking, hey, why did prices all of a sudden just go up across the board and on certain things that were not impacted by
Right.
things being shipped? You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole lot going on here, man.
Yeah.
Everybody was money grabbing. It's
Hmm.
crazy.
By the way, Amber says this year she is voting on protecting democracy, morals, and values of the candidates. Well, we
Exactly.
don't even have to ask you who,
Well,
who you're voting for
oh,
then.
I have no idea if you can be voting for values.
You know what? But I'm definitely.
So now you got to talk.
I think I've always kind of been like that. As much as I am all about financial independence and being able to do what I want when I want, and financial independence is a big part of that. I don't lead with that. Um, there might be some people that are surprised by that too, by the way, because back in the day, I think I was way uh, more likely to be driven strictly by finances and all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. Um, but I think I got to the point where I don't think it matters as much who's in the White House for me to be financially good.
That's very good.
So I'm not driven by that, because I don't think, yeah, there's always going to be, and we talked about this earlier, there's always going to be highs and lows, goods and bads. Um, but I don't think that is driven by who's in a position of power in the White House.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to impact my pocket that
No,
much.
no.
Right. And honestly, truth be told, I'm fiscally conservative. I
Oh,
really
I
am.
think I absolutely am. You
Yeah.
don't see me out there, making it rain or nothing like that. I've
No, but
never
I'm
been
just
like
saying
that.
in terms of principles too. I've got some
Yeah.
very conservative leaning principles when it comes to how the government should work and what they should spend their money on. A
Well,
lot of that.
let me ask you this though. I don't consider this a conservative principle. I consider this to be uh kind of a attribute of what my personality is. I don't I detest having to pay for any kind of interest rate. I haven't had to I don't think I've ever carried a balance in my life on a
Oh
credit card,
wow. Yeah.
because I don't want to pay that.
Oh gosh.
I don't want to pay to use somebody's credit card.
Yeah.
So you let me use it and you give me 30 days to pay it off,
I'll pay it off.
you will never make a dime off of me from interest rates.
Yeah, you
But
sound
I
like
don't consider that to be a conservative thing. That's just a personality trait that says I detest having to pay interest.
What about taxes?
Well, I don't want to pay any more than I have to, but I know that, and both of us do a lot of traveling, right? Whether it's car, train, or plane, that wasn't just one individual coming up with the continental transportation system, right? There was no one person paying to get those roads all done. The intercontinental or international highway,
Yeah,
intercontinental
you
highway
sound
system.
like Obama. Who built that?
Yeah, well, we all built that
We
to
all
a
built
certain
that.
extent, and sometimes it feels like these people that are very successful. And let's say you got to give them credit; they're smart. They took risks,
But
and
they're
those risks.
stupid too. They're stupid too. Don't
You
get
know
it
what?
twisted.
I don't
Just
know if
because you
it's
rich don't make you smart.
no. I think
I know some stupid ass rich people.
no. I think it's the arrogance makes them stupid
Maybe that's it.
because they were so successful in one or two areas. They think they'll be just as successful in every area, and
Yeah.
that's arrogance. That arrogance turns into
Ah,
ignorance, and I
yeah.
believe that for
That's
sure.
very good.
And
Arrogance turns into ignorance.
yeah, and
Yeah,
we can cite one person right now who has done a
yeah.
really interesting job with cars and with space shuttles and with
Ignorant.
satellites. But
Yeah,
what about social media?
yeah. He's gotten really bad.
So I think me personally, I don't lead with finances because I think I'll always be okay. I might not make as much as the next guy, but I tend to make what I need to live very comfortably.
Yeah.
And I'm allowed to do that and be able to think of the more morals and things like Amber pointed out. Who do I think would be a good person, a good person to be a great president? I don't want anybody who's just transactional in their nature in the way that they deal with things, because that means once the transaction is over, the trust, well, there was never really any trust. So there are a lot of things that are more important than just the pure finances of things. So
You,
I might take a little ding. I might make off better because this guy's going to cut interest rates for a certain, level of income, but I can be okay with that if more important things are taken care of.
you know, here's the thing too. We're living in right now. These everybody's saying, things are getting crazy, and and it's because of the politics and it because we're in a election year. And I'm going to just say it. It's not because we're in an election year. It's crazy because we got a crazy person running. And I'm starting to feel like every day I turn on the news, since especially this week, it's reminding me of what it was like for 4 years with them. Like every day, something else falls out of his mouth, and it just starts that crazy train. And we gotten used to kind of, I need my president to be boring and normal. That was kind of one of the reasons why Joe won. It wasn't because he was so, you know, uh, great. It was just like I just need a break from the crazy, and now we're back into this crazy. I mean, to talk about immigrants eating animals and watching now, like literally watching these people all of a sudden have to fear for their lives because you're spreading this lie. And that's definitely what we dealt with that for 4 years, you know and I just don't want to deal with this again. I
Well,
can't.
but the most ironic thing is if you lead with your finances, which a lot of people do,
Yeah.
and the person that you think is going to be best for that doesn't win, you still end up making a lot of money because look, how many people did not vote for Biden because of that reason. But if they look at their 401ks or their investment broker accounts,
Yes.
ain't never been bigger than now.
Yes. That's the whole key, man. Is that the rich always get richer. It doesn't matter who's in the office. And if you really believe, that's why I say it's all a game. right? It's hiding what they really believe because they have to know, and especially if you are a smart business person and an economist, then you understand why prices are high. You actually understand that. You know that the president had nothing to do with that part.
Let's take it just a wee bit more.
Ooh, you pushing it?
When one of the candidates is saying things that are just so counter to what's the actual facts, like tariffs won't come back on the individual. Like tariffs are just some foreign country's going to pay for it. Consumers are not. Now we all know we don't
We
even have
all
to.
know.
We don't even have to go to a big time school of economics. Unfortunately, this guy did it. And we know that's not to be the case. So
Yeah,
if you are somebody who is big in the finances,
yeah, you
how
understand.
could you how could you
Listen to
go
this
that route
and not fact check that.
and know that it's just not right?
It's a complete lie.
It has nothing to do with, feelings or emotions. It's just not true. It
Yeah,
just doesn't happen.
they know that. They know that. That's the
So
key. They know that.
so in that regard, then you're not really leading with your finances.
No.
And it goes back to something that you said. You said when you were talking about this, if it's not really leading with your finances, then
What
what
is
is
it?
it really
What is
leading
it?
with?
Yeah, what is it?
Ugh.
Hmm. So that's why. Anyway, I'm not going to call individuals out, but
Nah, no need to call no
there's a.
individual.
But I'm just saying, there's a lot of these, uh, bro hustlers that are out here being suckered in by this message, and it's like, y'all, just so
Well,
come on,
let's
man.
go a little further then, because I think what you're talking about is people who are buying into the illusion, the branding, the way it's being positioned without real and sort of stepping over, actually taking a look at it from a really unbiased perspective. Let's face it, when we were coming up, even our boys, the time, remember that song, Donald Trump black
Oh
version?
yeah, mhm.
And how many rappers over the decades
Yeah. One
have
of the most quoted people.
yeah, I mean,
Or yeah, if you go through rap lyrics, how many times has Donald Trump been in a rap lyric?
yeah, so they've become accustomed to those lyrics being based on some realness, some truthfulness, some fact.
Not really. It was a fantasy, but yeah.
Well, but those fantasies have turned in. Let's put it like this: there are certain rap moguls who believe the fantasy that was provided by that person has turned into real life.
Mm,
So there's a lot of stuff that goes into the pulling the lever, pushing the button, dropping the ballot in the mailbox that is completely based on mythology here.
yeah. But let's be clear, man. I'm just to put it all the way in. All right, let's go even further
All right.
because we're two black dudes talking right now. We know for an actual fact that they are trying very hard to whitewash black history out of American history. Extremely hard. We know that. Why in the world would you support the actual figurehead of that entire movement to run the country? What is that going to do for your legacy in the end?
Well, I think a lot of that goes back to we did it, we were able to do it. So why can't y'all? We don't care about all the stuff that's going on. We
We will
made
not
it.
look. They're not.
So why can't y'all?
You will be written out of history as well. So whatever you think you made, trust me, Otis made the damn elevator. You don't know nothing about him.
Good old Otis.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, what you think that you didn't put your indelible ink on the American. I'm telling you, you got to be
Well,
careful. Don't get it twisted.
when I will never know this feeling, but when you think you've arrived because you've reached a certain station or a certain number of zeros after a one, then you feel like you are kind of invincible, that you've made it, that against all odds, nothing stopped you. And so you want to be, you kind of want to go along with the group of those people who are also in that group apparently, and you'd rather be viewed with them than you'd rather be viewed with, the group of people who apparently have not reached that part in their life. So I don't know. Like I said, I'll never feel that way. I'll never know what that feels like. All I know is for me, it's not just about money. It's not just about, doing what I think will be right from a pure financial standpoint. It'll not, and it's, when I look at it, it has never been like that for me. And maybe I don't know if most people always stay, kind of in one lane, like they've always led with finances or they've always led with morals. I don't know if there's a point in time where people switch. I would think there are lots of cases of that.
I think there's got to be a balance somewhere in
I
there.
think
I
there
mean,
is got to be a balance.
we all want better business.
You know what? One thing that kind of,
Business owners, yeah.
you
I, mean,
you
I
know,
want better business.
yeah, but you know what? Uh, I think about like, well, my family and our family history. Not have, my grandmother wasn't able to vote until later in life, and we wouldn't been able to live where we did if certain things didn't happen. And all of those things are not based in finances. They're based in people who knew that they might not get to that point themselves, but the actions they took were meant for their kids or grandkids, the generations that come, after them to benefit. And it feels like some of these folks don't give a damn about that. It's all about what I get and what I can have. And that's something that is a very foreign thinking
All
process
right.
for me.
Amber is going ape shit in the
Oh yeah,
chat.
I've been
So
popping them up.
have you been popping them up? Because
Yes,
I just
sir.
happened to finally get to read
Oh,
some of
I've
them.
been looking. I've been
So
just like Amber is, and I agree with a lot of what Amber is saying here.
me too, absolutely. Yeah, we'll see where this goes, but I think it's time for a woman in the White House.
Could it be any worse?
It's just time.
I don't think I don't think they could do any worse than any of the men that have come before them have. Right? I don't.
Over my years, I've had female bosses and male bosses, and to be honest with you, most of the times, the women that I work with got the shit done. They really did. Not saying that the guys didn't,
All
but
right. All right.
I mean the women just they were just like just a little bit more salt in the game, man. I'm just gonna because when
Yeah.
they put their mind to getting something done, they got it done.
There's one thing that is kind of like nagging in the back of my head about this, this election. Do you remember this? I think this is in the '90s in North Carolina, the North Carolina Senate U.S. Senate race, Harvey Gantt versus I don't think was it Strom Jesse Helms. It was Jesse Helms, and Jesse Helms was this old time Southerner dude, like one of them Dixiecrats from like the '60s. And Harvey Gantt was this. I think he was I know he's black. It might have been like a black DA or something like that. And this is North Carolina,
Mhm.
and all the polls leading up to election day had Harvey Gantt like with a comfortable lead, right? Like a 5-7% lead. Like everybody was talking about he's going to win this thing. And then they went and voted. And
And
you
when
know
the
that
curtain
term,
closed,
you know what the term is? Silent majority. Oh, I bet there were a lot of folks there say, "Yeah, I can't vote for Jesse no more. We going with Harvey." And then they went, closed them curtains. Jesse won. I'm not gonna be very surprised if something like that happens
yeah,
here,
me either.
because there
But
are
I think
probably.
it might happen on the other way.
I would love it to happen on
I
the
would.
other way.
I'm feeling that a little bit. Like not. I think there are some people that are just going to be so disgusted with the crazy that they're just like, I can't do it again, and hopefully pull the other tack.
Man, I would be great if that were the case because I don't care if he ran as a Democrat.
Oh my God.
He's
I don't care either. He would not
he
get
would
my
I would
vote.
feel the same way. I
I
mean,
would not. He would not get my vote.
it's just too
It's
tiring,
yeah. It
too
would not.
much.
Well, anyway, I mean, I don't think this is a surprise to anyone that knows us or has listened to this show before.
No, but it's cool to be able to talk about it without coming to blows. Like
Suppose
there
we agree.
are, but I mean, there are a lot of people who, in their own families, they can't even deal with each other anymore. Um, and it's just it feels like it shouldn't be like that,
It
especially.
shouldn't be like that. I don't know what, but again, I think it's because of who we got running.
I
That's
do
the
think
characteristic of that.
I think he is a unique circumstance.
Absolutely. He's a very polarizing figure.
I don't think there's been anybody else in the history of this country that comes close to what this guy is.
Mm-mm.
And he is a special, unique circumstance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to put a period on it, I really enjoyed the uh, reactions of Kamala on stage because out of all the people, like he has taken down so many uh, people in debates, right? And what she did that was so unique is she actually laughed at his stupidity, as opposed to I remember when he would spew something so stupid on stage with 16 or however many people on stage with him back in that,
Oh yeah.
right? And I'm like, none of y'all are gonna check him or make him sound stupid because it's stupid what he just said, and I really she's the first one
Of
that
yeah. Of
has ever done that.
regardless of Democrat, Republican, I think they said he's been in 15 debates over the 7 or 8 years since he's been on the scene.
Yep.
She's the only one that made. I mean, the Bill Walsh, the old coach of the San Francisco 49ers, he was doing a game and one team was just killing this other team. And he said, this team, all I can say is they are being dealt with. It's like they couldn't do anything because this one team was just pounding them and pounding them. They are just being dealt with. That's what it looks like when somebody is being dealt with, right from the handshake and the way she did the handshake. Kamala Harris, let's have a
Mhm.
good debate. I mean, there was no nonsense. And anyway, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
but he won.
yeah. Well, that's what he says. Anyway, so I'm glad that we were able to kind of continue this because I know you were holding back, and
Yeah, but I'm still holding back. But
I
I didn't
know.
I didn't use any 4-letter words. I ain't call them out too bad.
Yeah, you did it. You. I have to give you a little kudos.
Yeah, come on. You know. I'll be talking stuff. But I mean, but all of that is just emotions
Yeah,
most of the time.
and there's a lot of them. Let's face it, emotion is what's driving a lot of this.
Yeah, it is. It
And
really
and
is.
I do have certain fears that emotions could get out of control at some point.
Um, 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 oh well, it
I
is what
just
it
hope
is.
I just hope people really take the time to think. Why is one side, one person talking about all of the rigging and all this stuff and not a vote has been cast yet?
Well, you did that last time
Yeah, but not like this. He's had like 4 years to
because I think
really dig.
he's feeling like he might lose.
That's what's gonna, making it a lot worse. We think that talking about the cat eating is
Oh yeah, it's going to be crazy.
it's gonna yeah. So I think the whole
It needs to
country
be a formidable defeat.
the whole country has to be kind of on guard, I guess, because it could get crazy and it could get out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's just hope it doesn't.
Let's hope it doesn't.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't.
Anyway, we didn't really say anything about technology at all this time.
No, this was not.
We
but
did a
you know
whole
what?
hour without doing any AI, which is great. I'm glad of that. When's the last time you spent an hour talking and you didn't mention A or I together? I mean,
That's crazy. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's rare.
all right, Amber. Thank you for all the commentary.
Yes,
Amber.
thank you, Amber.
Yes, we definitely
Very
appreciate it.
thoughtful.
We might have to have Amber on as a guest just because she's
And
such
that would be a good
a
thing.
faithful watcher and contributor here. So we appreciate that. Anyway, I'm ready to start the weekend.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get it on.
We will be back next Friday. Until then, folks, we out.
Peace.